On the phone right now, we have Mark Shieldrop from AAA Northeast. And Mark, thanks for taking the time to join us this morning.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, that's the question, because why are these gas prices going up so high?
Yeah, it's tough out there, and you're right. We broke records yesterday. We broke another record today. So today's average in Massachusetts is $4.70 a gallon. That's an increase of 5 cents over yesterday.
Wow, that's the
about
state?
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's been a record. We've been breaking a record pretty much every day for 3 weeks in a row. So for motorists out there, it's just like another slap in the face every morning when you head out and see those prices out there. So what's going on? Quite a few factors are sort of combining into a perfect storm to make this situation happen, really leading off with Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So we've all heard a lot about Russia's invasion of Ukraine and sort of the ramifications of what that means and how it's sort of reverberated around the world politically, but also it's affecting the oil markets in a big way because Russia is one of the larger producers of oil in the world.
Yeah.
And the United States in April indicated that it's not going to import Russian product. And Europe is showing signs and making movements, and some countries in Europe are taking steps to stop using Russian oil products as well. So as a result, the world is sort of scrambling to replace those millions of barrels of Russian oil that are basically leaving the oil market or have already left the oil market pretty much every day. And the United States is one of the largest refiners in the world. We have some refineries that produce all sorts of different products.
Aren't we the largest refiner in the world?
As far as refining, we're up there. I don't know if we're exactly the largest, but as far as the world's largest oil producer, we are. We currently are.
Okay.
For decades it was the Saudis. But back in the 90s and early 2000s, we really ramped up our oil production here. There was a concern we were dependent on all these other countries. We should be more oil independent, and so here we are.
So it doesn't really matter, though, if we're the largest oil.
Because we continue to import it, and why?
Yeah, like...
Right. So it's very interesting. So the oil market's really, and I don't want to get into the weeds with your listeners here, but let's just say that every barrel of oil is not made the same. So that Russian oil, for example, it's really good at making diesel. Some of the Saudi oil maybe isn't. So even if, say, Saudi Arabia says, we're going to triple production and flood the market with oil, it's not like we could turn around and crank out more diesel and get that diesel price lower, which right now today is at $6.41 a gallon. So that's another record.
Oh, man. Wow.
So that Russian oil is, the world is kind of the supply and demand and the way things go around the world. We're just in this position now where there are shortages of certain types of product that we need to make diesel, for example. Also, we're heading into the summer driving season. So demand generally goes up right now anyways. And this is typically when we see the highest prices during the year. And after this week or so, and as we head from May to June, prices start to level off a little bit. And then by the end of the summer, we're kind of a little bit more back to normal. We're also switching to summer blend gasoline. So refiners, they shut down for a few weeks, they retool, and they come back online. They start producing that summer blend gasoline, which has a lower particulate content. It's better for the environment, and especially in the summer, it prevents some of those air quality alerts we get in the summer, so the summer blend helps with that.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking summer blend. It's got a hint of lemon in it with some cardamom, like a Sam Summer bean.
Tastes great, less filling.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's that new coffee you can pick up at Starbucks now, to get that spring blend on discount. But it's a tough situation with oil. It's a supply-demand situation. Okay. I know people... the oil market's a commodity, so it's kind of subject to the winds of the market, and you really want to look at the price of a barrel of oil, and oil's high. I mean, it's been climbing right now. Oil's over $110 a barrel, and that right there just means that we're going to have higher fuel prices overall, and there is a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, and that is we're heading into the summer driving season, so we should see prices start to subside a little bit, but it's that Russian invasion that really... kind of put the whole oil market into disarray. Okay. And so here we are. And it's tough. It's really tough.
A lot of people are saying, well, why isn't the government doing anything about this? Can the government do anything about oil and gas prices?
Yeah, it's one of those things where elected officials sometimes take credit for when times are good, like low gas prices, but when prices get high, we say, hey, what are you going to do? But in reality, no president really has too much control over the oil markets because, like I said, it's a global market that's traded. It's a commodity. So there are things that governments can do to influence prices. So one big thing we have done is that large release from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. So in the grand scheme of things, yeah, it's kind of a drop of the bucket when you consider 100 million barrels a day slosh around the world in the global oil trade. And the release is only about 2 million barrels a day over the next few months. So that's not a lot, but it actually does help a little bit. So it eases some of the pressure on the oil markets, knowing that there's that supply out there. Governments can also do things like suspend taxes. So we saw in Connecticut, they suspended the gas tax. But, you know, that's only like a quarter a gallon. So when you're paying $4.70 a gallon in Massachusetts, the gas tax is, I think, 18 cents.
It's a drop in the bucket.
So $4.52 instead of $4.70. Okay, the government can do that, but no government can really just shave the price of gasoline down to levels that we're comfortable with just by taking one action. We're subject to the whims of the market. You know, if oil-producing countries can't produce enough oil, you know, we're in a pickle. And there's a lack of refining capacity around the world. There's not that many large major refineries that can take, you know, tar sands oil from Canada or sweet crude from the Middle East or the shale oil that we produce here in the United States and crank out diesel and gas oil for energy in Europe and regular gasoline that we have, marine fuel or jet fuel even. So airlines are seeing the same thing.
Mark, let me ask you this. I remember, was it 2007 or 2008? It was during the summer because I was vacationing out in New Hampshire, and I remember people like, why are you traveling? Gas is so high. That's when it hit $4 a gallon for the first time.
Yeah.
And I don't remember why. I don't know if you do, what brought it up high, but I do remember, and I'm very thankful I was wrong when I predicted, if it hits $4 a gallon, why would it ever go back down below 4, below 3? Right. Nothing. No prices ever go down once they hit a level. And I was so happy to see I was wrong, and it did go down into the 2s. Do you remember why that happened? And more importantly, do you see us getting back ever down to $2 a gallon of gas?
Oh, boy. Yeah. You know, it is true that when gas prices shoot up fast, and then it seems like it takes forever for them to go back down. This situation is really unique. I don't remember the exact details of what happened in 2008. I think it may be related to Libya and some of the revolutions going on in the Middle East there. It was leading up to the housing crisis and our big recession. I remember that clearly. But in 2008, you're right, prices did go above $4 a gallon. And that's that psychological level where people really start to reassess their behavior and say, wait a minute here, you know, when we see that 4, it's a big deal. But it is, oil and gas is a supply-demand thing. So if demand just isn't there, these ports and places where these tanker trucks fill up to bring to your local gas station are sitting on supply. And as a result, they have to lower prices. So it's sort of like real estate, where there are periods of time where it seems like prices are just only going to go up, but then something happens or the economy slows down and demand slacks off. And all of a sudden a neighborhood that was highly desirable suddenly doesn't have anyone who wants to live there, and prices just have to go down. So that's part of it. I can tell you right now, the average retail margin for gasoline is about 26 cents across the country. That means your local gas station, on average, is making 26 cents every time they sell a gallon of gas. That's pretty high in the grand scheme of things. But what happens is with competition, you know, one guy lowers the price 10 cents. The station across the street sees that and says, all right, we'll lower it. And there's an overall effect where that price starts to tick down. If oil starts to fall in price, we're going to see lower prices at the pump. But this spike is pretty unprecedented because normally, and what we've seen in the past, is we get these temporary spikes and they kind of slide back down pretty relatively quickly. This is different because
it's still going
price
up.
has just been climbing steadily. It's like a snowball going down a mountain, just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we've never seen this before. And the situation with Russia and Ukraine is really kind of open-ended. We don't really have an end game in sight right now. There are a bunch of large refineries coming online later this year around the world, some in Africa and China and other places. So that should help with some of the supply issues.
Let me ask you this. Go ahead, Mark. Sorry, no.
I was going to say, the other thing we're looking at is demand, right? So a few months ago, we were thinking this is going to be gangbusters summer travel season. People are coming out of the pandemic. Prices are cheap. The economy's good. Unemployment's low. It's going to be good times. And what happened? everything that happened. And now here we are with $4 a gallon gas. So a lot of economists are looking at the economy now. They're looking at these high prices and the inflation, and they're saying this could really do a number on gasoline demand. So that could be a huge reason why prices start to go down in the future. So we're looking really closely at the economy and if people are actually going to really cut back. And if we do head into a recession, which doesn't sound like a good scenario, and we're not hopeful for that, but that will have an effect on price of oil and the price of gas.
Well, what can people do to give us before we go, a couple of tips that people can do to save on gas?
Yeah, no, thanks for that. And, doing interviews like this, I start to feel like Darth Vader after a while, just being, the endless bearer of bad news here. But there's a lot of good things you can do to save money at the pump. And the one thing I encourage people to do, and this is hard because it kind of requires you to take a look within yourself and see if it's your own behavior, but slow down a little bit. Just easing up on that gas pedal can make a massive difference in how much fuel you consume.
Okay, Hold on a second, Mark. You are working for AAA Northeast, right? Come on now. You think that's really going to happen?
What else you got on that list?
Yeah, what else is there?
Well, let's just say, hey, if I could sell you something or give you something that would give you 25% more fuel economy, you'd probably consider it. And I'm not saying,
No, we're kidding. You're absolutely right.
Put your hazards on and go below the speed limit. We want you to stay safe and go with the flow of traffic. That's for sure. But, hey, instead of going in the passing lane, passing everybody, maybe drift a little more to the right and go a little closer to the speed limit. You're going to save a bunch of fuel. Cars are really fuel efficient about 50 miles an hour. Any faster than that, and then it really starts to chip away at that. If you're one of those people that's going 80, 85 miles an hour on the highway, passing everybody, bolting from the stop when the light turns green, hitting the brakes hard, and, if you're book bags flying off the back seat.
Hey,
you're wasting fuel.
Why are you picking on us?
I'm right here.
I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm just saying, these are the signals to look for. Right? Could you be a potential gas saver, right?
Yeah, no, you're right.
So that's the big one.
Okay.
It's, more safe, but you're going to save fuel. There's a lot of other small things you can do, though. They do add up. Check the tire pressures. One of your tires, it might be not properly inflated, a little low. You're not going to be able to tell just by looking at it. So head to the gas station, get that calibrated, get to that air machine. That could be 3 to 5% fuel economy. If you still have a ski rack on your car from the winter, or those boots, ski boots kicking around on the back of the car, get them out. Extra weight in your car can eat away at your fuel economy. Sometimes people don't realize they might have like 200 pounds of stuff in their car spread around. That's like having, 1 or 2 passengers in the car with you, and that can eat your fuel economy.
Mark, I'm a disc golfer. I need to have at least 400 discs in the back of my car at all times in case I run into a course. Yeah.
So if we mention your name at the gas station, we get a discount?
Well, actually, if you're a AAA member,
there we go.
AAA app, or we have a deal with Shell, actually. So the Shell Fuel Rewards Program, you can save 5 cents a gallon on every fill up.
So just saying Mark doesn't help. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Mark.
No, they'll say that guy. No.
Well, Mark,
telling you how much money we make.
Yeah. Mark, we got to wrap it up here. But thank you so much for checking in with us and giving us some info on here and how to save on gas, and we appreciate it. I'm sure AAA has some tips on gas. What's a good website people can go to?
Yeah, just AAANortheast.com.
Okay.
And you can find all the information there, and folks can always try to reach out to me if they have any questions. And again, folks, I'm sorry, it's really tough out there. Hang in there. Things will get better. We're just in the situation where things are a lot worse before they get better. So it's tough out there, and I really feel for people that have no choice. People got to get to work.
Yeah. Okay, real quick before I let you go, because I just got a text here. Are you familiar with the television show The Office?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Very much so.
Someone texted in and said that when they first tuned in, they thought we were talking to Toby from The Office.
Oh no.
They sound like Toby from The Office.
No.
There you go, Mark.
But a knowledgeable Toby.
Right. You're
yeah. Let's just say I'm a little less uptight than Toby.
Okay.
All right.
This was great.
All right, Mark.
A little bit more like Kevin, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah. There we go. All right, Mark. Thanks a lot, man. We appreciate your time. All right. Thanks a lot. That's Mark Shieldrop from AAA giving us some tips on how to save gas while the prices are super high.